Surprise! I'm gay!
Feels so good to be so young and have this fun and be successful. I'm so successful.
So, when I say I'm gay, I mean in the umbrella term of I like girls, but I don't specifically just like girls. I am pansexual, which means that I like people regardless of their gender. So, yeah. And this is the story of how Minecraft turned me gay because, whoo boy, did that shit turn me gay. Okay, so to start this off, we have to go back to my 5th grade. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we had PE, and Tuesdays, Thursdays, half the class would go down to the library and get a book, while the other half would always go to the computer lab. And if you were going to get a book from the library, that basically meant free time and you would talk to your friends. So at the time, I was friends with a lot of guys because I went to a Catholic school and the school was about 40 kids each class. He was my crush at the time, and I was very, I used to really just like hanging out with guys because the girls were mean to me. Girls still are mean, but that's another story. So, I remember we were talking about our first kiss, and I basically said I haven't had mine yet, and my crush goes, Alex, your first kiss is gonna be with a girl. You're a lesbian. And I don't know why, but I felt so fucking offended when he said that I ran to the teacher and I told on him. Am I that sorry? Not really. Because, you don't just go around saying, hey, you're a lesbian. Continuing on to 8th grade summer before my freshman year, I watched this. Basically, I was obsessed with Minecraft because Joey Graceffa, he used to make a lot of doing like those Hunger Games Minecraft videos. And from him, I watched this one YouTuber, Devin, and then I also got obsessed with Minecraft YouTubers and just the entire game, and I don't know what it was. He came out that summer and basically said he was pansexual, and he described what it was. And I remember thinking, oh, I feel like that. That's how I am. Maybe I'm pansexual. But the thing is, at the time, I had never really thought that I liked any girls, which, I did like some girl characters growing up, but I thought it was the whole, oh, girl crush, she's so pretty, but, being forced in a closet because of heteronormative agendas. So I kind of just pushed that to the back of my mind and pretended, that was a quick question about it, but I'm 13. I doubt it. So starting my freshman year, I was 14, and that year I liked this one guy, and the entire year I just never liked any girls, and I'm just like, okay, so yeah, I definitely am straight. And then I was going to be transferring my sophomore year somewhere else, but during my freshman summer before my sophomore year, I looked up some One Direction fanfics, and the thing is, I always knew what smut was, but I, have strict Asian parents, so my biggest fear all the time was always, are they going to see my history? So I was too chicken shit, basically, for a long time, even though I was in the fandom since I was 10. I was too scared to look up smut, but, I was like, hey, I'm about to be a sophomore, might as well look now. So I looked and I read through it, and I was very fascinated. And if you were in the One Direction fandom from about 2012 to 2015-ish, you remember this one account called 1D lookalikes, and I don't think that was the exact name, and I don't even know if they still have that account, especially with the whole new Tumblr ban thing, but basically it was an account that dedicated a bunch of pictures that looked like people in One Direction, like in a coupley type of position with someone else. But rather than it being very like cute and oh, like kissing at a park or something, it was porn. It was just gifs of people who looked like the One Direction members doing the do. And I was confused for so many reasons because one, I didn't really have sex ed, so I barely understood what sex was. And two, why did they look so similar to the members? But after continuously getting like obsessed with that, I kept looking more and more into Tumblr for more like, I guess like there was also a thing called like audios where it sounded somewhat like them, and I was looking for it and I stumbled across this link and I pressed it and it led me to Pornhub. I remember watching something and I focused on the girl and I was like, she's really pretty. So I kept watching more more videos of girls, like girl on girl doing the frick frack. And I was really confused because, you know, I was like, I'm straight. Why am I so into the girls thing? I remember looking in the private browser. Is it gay if I ... you know, blank, you know, if I watch this with girls or if I want to kiss a girl? Chances are, if you're looking online to find out if you are gay or not, and you're already watching porn of them, of the people of the same sex doing the do, and you have to already look up that kind of question, you're probably gay. I really found out what porn was because of One Direction. I hope you're happy, Stan Twitter. Moving on. So, my sophomore year, I liked this guy for the entire time, but I also had a crush on this girl. For them not finding out sake, we'll call them Libby and Liam. They were friends and I met them. They were seniors and I was a sophomore when I transferred. The entire year I was like fangirl in love with Liam. To this day I still jokingly call him love of my life and let him claim that title even though he has no idea. And I'm still friends with Libby on social media, but like we barely talk. But she was someone that I definitely will consider the first girl I ever liked. But at the time, I was so scared to admit it. And, you know, everyone, when I transferred, I was in such a deep emo phase. Everyone assumed that I was already gay. And so I don't know if I was scared to have that assumption on me, but I definitely didn't like it, especially because they would ask my friends if I was gay but not ask me. And I know that's like kind of a touchy subject when you try to ask someone, but it just annoyed me how people created rumors around that. But I definitely had a crush on her, but because I was so infatuated with her friend, I kind of pushed off the idea of liking her and again pulled the whole, oh, it's just a girl crush, like nothing too serious. So I never really told her I liked her, and to this day she probably won't ever find out. But yeah, then they graduated and, you know, there were no other girls that really had me interested, I guess. So again, I pushed off the whole maybe I'm gay thing or not. And then came my summer before my junior year. I was very confused because I kept realizing more and more how I was attracted to girls, especially when you're on Stan Twitter at that time and you have so many friends that are really pretty. I was just very confused, but I didn't know if I was pansexual or I was bisexual because I really didn't have an of like deep understanding on the difference. So after that, my junior year pretty much was a giant debate between am I bisexual or am I pansexual? Most of my stan friends on Twitter that I'm still friends with now and I can kind of consider my in real life friends, they knew I was gay, but I actually remember coming out to two of my friends for the first time about being gay, and they were very accepting, and I felt really lucky because, I know that it's not that easy for a lot of people. But, if my parents knew, I'm pretty sure the only reason they would decently be okay with it is because they'd know I still am attracted to guys, which sucks. But by the time I was done with junior year, it was very stressful because, you have your identity, or your junior year, you go through a lot. You have SATs, you have APs, you have that being the year that, all the colleges are looking at you. You have your driving test, depending on what age you're, 15, 16. Being 16 is a tough age. Being a junior is a tough age. And on top of all of that, I was dealing with my own identity crisis and finding out who I was. But by the time junior year finished, I was able to definitively say, I am not straight. And so my summer before my senior year, I realized more and more through that summer I am pansexual. And during my senior year, my first kiss was my friend Megan because we were jokingly doing it for a show before a Five Sauce concert. So to that kid who said my first kiss was going to be a girl, you were right. Probably owe you $1. My bad for getting you in trouble. And, my senior year when I finally came out, people finally came up to me and were like, okay, so are you gay or what are you? And I just said, well, why didn't you ask this before? And it never really angered me, but it was just very annoying, I was one of those people where they can assume whatever they want to, but if, they don't really ask me, I'm just not going to tell them if I'm gay or not, or what sexuality I identify as. And I just remember getting so much shit for all of my high school career of people trying to assume who I was while simultaneously, copying my style and all that. And I already know high school is very messy, especially going to a Catholic school and all that, but it kind of ruins your mental health a lot when the detrimental years of you growing up were a lot of trauma happened during that, But I just want to say, like, to anyone anyone who's struggling, with their self-identity, it's okay because life is about discovering who you are and trying to learn and better yourself, especially from the ages of like 13 to 17, and you're still trying to figure out your sexuality. It's okay to be confused because, you're never going to fully be able to know your identity that young. And I think I wish I had known that instead of having to struggle for a while. So there's that advice if you need it. And oh my god, are those dogs going to stop barking? Shut the fuck up.